Hello and welcome to the quick overview of JANUS, which is first of all the name of Jakob Steen's, one of his two sons, but also the acronym for Joint Administrative Net-Based User Self-Service, which is very hard to pronounce. It's built as a simple SAML PHP module, and therefore to access it I will have to click the Federation tab of the simple SAML PHP install page, click the name of the module, and there I am at the email challenge response login system. This could be configured to be, for instance, an SMS gateway or something else. The authentication mechanism is configurable. An email has now been sent to me with a ticket, a login ticket, so I will have to look up my email and click the token that I got, and then I should be led into the dashboard of JANUS, which is the Federation overview. It takes a little while, but here we are. Here is first of all a long list of all connected entities. We have all service providers on the left hand side. We have all identity providers in the on the right hand side. Now there's no filter here, but we do have support for various stages according to the connection procedure. So we have test, QA and production systems, and steps for accessing each of these. So pending QA and QA accepted before QA, all are part of the workflow support built into JANUS. I could shorten the list by simply picking one of the states and get a shorter list, but we don't have time for that, because I also have to tell you that if you want to enter a new entity into the list, you just type a name and select the type that you either want to enter, a service provider or identity provider, and then you actually get created a new entity in the list. Just to go through what is more here on the dashboard, we have the attribute release policy viewer and editor. So I can edit an attribute release policy, I can add more attributes, or I can delete. I give the attribute release policy a name and I can assign it to various attributes or to various entities. There's an inbox. All state changes are logged, and you can also assign a note to each state change, so you can actually get an idea or roll back an idea of what is happening, or rolling back to previous states. There's an administrative tab here for the groups and roles that we have in the system, also part of the workflow support, very important. And we have of course the metadata export functionalities here. I will quickly show you. You can either have an export of service providers, ID providers, or both. You can select what state of the workflow you want to export, select the MIME type, and of course where you want to export it to, a file system on FTP server. If we go back to the dashboard and pick a random entity, here we go, it should be coming up now. We can just take any university here. We can take a Aarhus University. We can immediately see that it's in production, which means that I will not be able to actually alter or change any of the information that we will have a look at now. There's a revision note field which is present in all views, but you can actually go to the tab called Service Provider and disallow attribute release to any of these connected services in the Federation. So if you have a service that you don't want to receive any attributes from your IDP, you can tick here. You may also disable consent for given services. The consent services in Wave, of course, centralized. You have the metadata information. This is actually editable when you are not in the production state, but here you can see the different information types that we put into the metadata. Typically we do it by using the automated import function, where we just place the URL of the metadata at the entity, and then it imports here and checks the sanity checks on the import function. As part of the import function, there's a history, the revision history of this entity, and of course you can export the metadata again. So with these few words, you probably have a very rough, you hopefully have a very rough overview of what JANUS is and does, and that should be the basis for further discussion, I hope.